Being single is so ghetto sometimes because, like, I would love to make my boyfriend an Easter basket.
Feminism is dying, and if this take goes sideways, ignore everything I fucking said.
There are exactly 3 scenarios in which I shamelessly reject feminism.
Men want peace. That's all they want. Men are vilified.
Men are vilified for wanting peace indeed. That's why most of them today choose themselves.
I literally have no desire to be a girl boss.
When are we going to realize that this feminism thing isn't working?
One second, feminism is demonizing men for objectifying women, and in the next, it's encouraging girls to sell their body on OnlyFans.
They say don't sexualize women because eventually they'll do it themselves. Kindly subscribe to the channel as it further supports us in our work. Thank you.
Men don't care about how much money you make. They're not looking for women to make all this money to be attracted to them. But let's be honest, ladies, we can even be feeling a guy, but when we find out he's making $45,000 average salary, them draws dry up.
Feminism is a powerful hate movement that has convinced its members that men are domineering beings who want to control women. They have dehumanized men, made them the enemy, called their masculinity toxic, and used them as scapegoats for everything wrong in society.
I agree.
And I think what we've done as a society is that in women trying so hard to be men and saying, right, I can do it all and all at the same time, and I can be a man, I can outman the men, is basically what they said. Instead of saying, I can be a powerful woman, there's an organization called Big Ocean Women that gave me this t-shirt that says Maternal Feminism. It basically means that as women, we have power being women. We can be powerful. We can even have careers and be mothers, but we can't do it all at the same time and do it well. But that defies what the feminist movement said, which is you can just give birth to babies, hand them over to somebody in daycare or to somebody else, and go out into the world and be better than the men, outmen the men. Instead of saying to women, mothering is a powerful thing. You can also have careers. Just make sure that you don't try to do it all at the same time.
You're completely right. There's so much strength to being a woman. There's forever going to be things which women excel at where men cannot, and vice versa, right? And I think just because of our biology being different, when women have this mindset of trying to outman men, you're destined to lose.
Even when women try to do it all, they fail because most of the time they just end up burning themselves out. That's what feminism taught them, that they don't need men, that they can do everything men can do and do it better. But what it didn't teach them was the cost, the sleepless nights, the crushing pressure, the emotional exhaustion of trying to juggle a career, bills, kids, independence, and a social life all on their own. It glorified self-reliance to the point of isolation. And now, many are silently drowning, too proud to ask for help, too conditioned to believe that needing a man is weakness. But the truth is, strength isn't doing it all alone. It's knowing when to share the load. That's something many feminists suffer with today, this unspoken pressure to constantly prove themselves, to show the world they don't need anyone, especially not a man. But behind closed doors, many are overwhelmed, anxious, and emotionally drained.
You're talking to a girl and she gets flirted with, and then later she kind of jokes with you and she's like, are you jealous?
I think if a guy hears that, that should be his first clue to run in the opposite direction.
And you say no? Wrong answer!
But is it really?
As a girl, we just want some slight confirmation, okay? It doesn't have to be anything too crazy or over the top.
Keyword there, girl. It seems some girls want guys that are basically insecure, while most women prefer men that are confident.
Feminism isn't about hating men. It's about equality.
No. Since the beginning, feminism has been about hating men. In 1918, an anonymous suffragette authored a piece called Advice on Marriage to Young Ladies. Do not marry at all. Avoid these type of men. Don't expect too much. Men are trash. All single men suck. Feed the brute. It's a great way to refer to men. And then it compares men to dogs. The conclusion says don't get married at all. For those who are saying feminism is not anti-man or anti-marriage, literally it's been that from the beginning.
And I see it in the OnlyFans workers, but I also see it in the career women, the older career women that were told to chase a career over a man. And, now they're coming out with articles that say these sassy, sophisticated, solvent women say they are struggling to find other halves that measure up. So we got 46-year-old Lucy, 52-year-old Leslie, Julia, 54, Laura, 42, and Jane, 48. Do you see the language? They're struggling to find other halves that can measure up. It's so crazy that women live to half a century without any humility. Let's look at the Twitter comments. Let's see if they're very sympathetic. There are men that would take these women. They just have to lower their standards. Men Worth Discipline says they moved on about 20 to 30 years ago. None of them look like they're young enough to bear children, so they get the leftovers. Their time has passed. And it's so crazy because even male athletes kind of know when their time's passed. But women like that, they blame men for a lifetime instead of saying, you know what, I pissed away my youth. I made very poor decisions. I wasn't good enough for a husband. And this is what you can learn. Instead, they just point the fingers and say the men don't measure up.
Them saying they pissed away their youth or that they made poor decisions is something they will never admit. A majority of women feel more comfortable blaming men rather than taking accountability for their own life and choices. It's always, men are intimidated by my success, or there's no good men left. Never, maybe I prioritized the wrong things. Just look at some of these successful career women writing articles, podcasts, or blog posts about how hard it is to find a man that measures up. But let's be honest, when they say that, they're not talking about kindness, loyalty, or emotional intelligence. They're talking about income, social status, and influence. They're looking for someone who makes as much or more because feminism taught them that dating down is failure. It told them that having it all meant being at the top and having a man who's at the top too. But that's not reality. It's delusion. This is another long-term effect of feminism. While they were chasing degrees, promotions, and independence in their prime years, they were also sacrificing the things that make relationships work.
And women being able to be women. Our sons being able to be sons, and our daughters being able to be daughters. Without the outside world trying to tell them that they are not what they were born to be. The absolute selfishness of liberal women getting on this app, talking about their rights being taken away. When the rights they're talking about is the right to pull their baby out of their body and murder it. Women out here dream of having a baby, dream of having a family, and you're just ripping it out of you. And then crying because somebody wants to put a restriction on it. All feminism is selfishness. Feminism, if I gotta be the first to say it, I'll say it. Up with the patriarchy. I stand with men.
When are we going to realize that this feminism thing isn't working? I get it. Yes, we're equal in value, but we're not equal in role, ladies. I am sorry. I'm losing patience with this, but we need to understand that looking at men like they're our enemy is the opposite of what we should be doing. How in the world are we going to build a marriage or a healthy relationship of any kind with a man when we keep yelling at their faces and telling them that there's something wrong with them and that they are our enemy and we're trying to compete with them and fight them and prove a point? It's not working. This is why there's so many divorces. I'm not saying that's the only reason there are divorces, please, but that's a big part of it. We need to stop it. We need to, instead of standing in front of him, facing him and trying to argue and be combative, we need to stand by his side and be like, let's tackle this challenge together. Let's build each other up. Stop it, for goodness sake.
Most women today aren't looking to build with a man. They want a man who's already made while they come to the table empty-handed. They expect a man to have the house, the car, the income, the lifestyle, all figured out, while offering little more than their presence and a list of demands. At the same time, feminism in the West didn't just reshape gender roles, It killed genuine feelings for love, partnership, and marriage. It turned relationships into transactions where women are told to never settle and that any compromise is oppression. Love became conditional. Marriage became a backup plan instead of a shared mission. And now many women are emotionally detached, chasing independence while silently craving intimacy, but not knowing how to balance both. That's why so many men are checking out. They're tired of being seen as wallets, therapists, and status symbols, tired of being told they're not enough simply because they don't earn 6 figures or can't meet unrealistic standards.
Being single is so ghetto sometimes because, like, I would love to make my boyfriend an Easter basket. Like, I live and die for this shit. I love the holidays, and I would just love to spoil my boyfriend with, like, the cutest Easter basket filled with, like, all of his favorite things, maybe some Knicks tickets, maybe some clothes, like, candy. Ugh. But that's okay. Maybe one day.
I think that our culture and mistakes of generations past have formed this narrative that somehow if you become a stay-at-home mom, you're no longer an independent woman in control of your life. I'm a mom of 3. I left a 6-figure income to be a stay-at-home mom, and my value in the eyes of the world is basically non-existent. Because I'm quote unquote a slave to a man, because I support my husband and I take care of the household and I take care of my kids, but I'm not independent because I don't have my own money coming in. But if I showed up to a corporate job and I sat in my cubicle and I got my paycheck and I put in my PTO request and I just crossed my fingers that my boss was not going to fire me every single day, somehow I'm free. Somehow I'm independent. Somehow I'm good. Many of us who are driven, educated women are having to unwire our brain to find our own self-worth is not tied to that. And we aren't beholden and slaves to our husbands. You just need to be educated. You need to be protected. Honestly, my retirement and investment accounts are better now than they were when I'm working because my husband contributes to them every quarter. The key is marrying a man who recognizes your value, but you have to recognize your own value first.
This is another thing that's not talked about enough. How feminism often looks down on mothers who choose to stay home and raise their children. The same movement that claims to support women's choices will turn around and shame a woman for making the wrong choice in their eyes. This is a woman who proudly shared that she was a stay-at-home mom, raising her kids and supporting her husband, and she received an avalanche of hate in the comments. The hate didn't come from men. It came from other women, especially so-called feminists who claimed she was oppressed or setting women back. The irony is, the very women who claim to fight for respect and equality are often the first to tear down another woman simply because she finds fulfillment in family and motherhood. That kind of hypocrisy is exactly why some women today are quietly walking away from the feminist label, because it no longer represents all women, just the ones who agree with a specific ideology.
Man to man, brother to brother, women aren't that special. And when I say that, I don't mean women are below men or that they shouldn't be respected. But just because a woman is visually attractive with a pulse, it does not mean she is special. As men, it doesn't give you a reason to put her on a pedestal above you. You see, most men see an attractive woman and think with what's between their legs and not their brain. Many women in this world are attractive. There is an abundance of beautiful women. But what we must realize as men is that doesn't make her special. That doesn't make her worthy of our energy, time, and commitment. Most men will meet a woman like this and think, I need to keep her around. That comes from a place of desperation and lack. You should be asking yourself, is this person worth keeping around? Giving accolades before they're shown is the fastest way to lose respect from a woman and for yourself. A man who has true self-worth and value doesn't do this. He gets to know her as a person and understands her values and morals and how she conducts herself as a person. He questions, can this person add to my life, to what I've already given to myself? And only then does he make a decision on if this woman is worthy of his energy. The moment you make a woman feel special for just barely existing, for her God-given looks, she will know she can walk all over you.
I agree. Do you consider yourself a feminist?
Yes, in the way of like making sure women have equal rights.
So you consider yourself a feminist, but in your pre-show notes, you said that you appreciate traditional values. How do you reconcile being a feminist, but also holding men to their traditional gender roles?
Not every woman lives the same lifestyle, so I think it's important that they have representation and minimization of sexism, as well as like harassment in the work industry.
Okay, you said minimization of sexism. Don't you think it's a rather sexist position to believe that men should be providers?
I think that's like a traditional thing.
If you have an expectation on men by virtue of their gender to be providers, isn't that sexist?
I would just personally like to have a person that would like to provide for me.
That's traditional gender roles. Again, how do you reconcile being a feminist but wanting traditional treatment from men? Throughout the entire course of the relationship, you want a guy to provide for you. You want traditional treatment, and it sounds like you want him to pay your bills. You want an allowance. You want him to pay for your nails. If you go on trips, you want him to pay for it. If you guys were living together, would you want him to pay the entire rent?
Yeah.
Make it make sense, huh? She says she believes in feminism and equality, but still expects men to provide for her, pay all the bills, protect her, and take care of her like it's 1950. That's not equality. That's selective feminism. Selective feminism is when a woman picks and chooses which parts of feminism benefit her and ignores the rest. It's when she wants the independence and freedom that come with being a modern woman, but still expects traditional treatment from men. She'll say, "I'm strong and don't need a man," right before saying, "A real man should pay for everything." She'll demand equal pay, equal rights, and equal voice. But the second it comes to taking out the trash, fixing the car, or financially supporting a relationship, suddenly it's a man's job. It's the double standard no one wants to call out, because it exposes the truth. Many of these women don't actually want equality. They want options.
Right, I need your help. If you are over 30, what are we doing about dating? Because I'm losing the will to live. Like, where are we meeting these people? Because dating websites ain't the one. They are all after one thing. I swear to God, they're just like, "Do you want to see a picture of my..." No, I don't. Do men honestly think that works? Because I can confirm as a 35-year-old woman, it doesn't work. We don't want to see it, okay? It doesn't do it for us. I'm quite old school. I want to just meet someone, talk for a bit, no pressure, go out, have fun, get to know someone. Is that too much? Because quite frankly, I'm wondering if I'm the problem here. Probably am. I love theme parks. I love walking the dog. Stephen loves a walk. I love going to beaches, going for a cocktail, things like that. Without someone going, "Ooh, should we go back to yours?" No, thank you. Let's get to know each other, okay? Because at this age, I'm looking for something real now, all right? Also, and this is a big one, and I don't know, again, if this is too much to ask, not to have a secret wife or girlfriend, okay? No, stop it. Anyway, on that note, let's find the great TikTok love of the year, okay? Let me find my TikTok man, because I feel like that's the way to go now, because I'm always on TikTok. So if you, or anyone you know, are male, sorry girls, you are between 31 and 39, possibly 40, then do your thing, okay? Also, if you could like and repost this, because, you know, I want to earn some dollar. I want to go treat myself, okay? That'd be great. Thanks, bye.
Did you catch that? At this age, I'm looking for something real now. That right there is the classic line, and it says everything. This is exactly why I say that most of the time, when a woman is still single at 30, it's because she chose the streets. She didn't prioritize finding a good man when she had the most options. Instead, she spent her prime chasing the thrill, the attention, the parties, the flings, believing love would still be waiting for her whenever she was ready. But now? She's running into the same type of men she used to entertain. Men who are just looking for a good time, not a lifetime. The tables have turned, and now she's the one wanting something real, while the men around her are playing the same game she once played. The difference? Men still have time. She doesn't. It's just reality.